Hey everyone. So welcome to another episode ATC about those comments. So did a video on Simply Said. An email was sent to me regarding a subscriber. Thank you very much. And it was basically called Choosing a Man. Is it hereditary? So as you know, we're here to discuss some of the comments. And one particular comment, like really super, kind of stuck out. Okay. Um, a lot of interesting comments on here. And I see, hey, we've got Simply Stephanie in the house. I see her channel. I follow her. She has some really good, insightful videos. So I would definitely recommend to check out Simply Stephanie. So we have a comment here by her as well, Simply Stephanie, that says, the actions speak to the low self-esteem of the sisters. And basically, the email was about 3 sisters. 2 of them chose a good man. They all found better men, but they left the good men to deal with Dusty, Lil TT, and Dusty Dan. And it's mind-boggling. So on some of the comments here, we have her Skeptor. She says, sadly, many times women like this leave good men because of fear that the relationship will crumble or they don't believe it's genuine. My husband and I grew up without our fathers in the home, but we wanted better for our children. And that, I totally agree. I've seen women hang around for like the Dusty Dan, with guys with no income. I kid you not, educated women who have given men gas money to come and see them. I don't understand it. So I agree. With regard to relationships, again, this email was pretty much about women choosing men. There were good men, but they just happened to choose men that were at the bottom of the barrel. And I think part of that is their feel that, oh my gosh, they're so used to dysfunction. It's like, this is too good to be true. Oh, it's a trick. I'm going to get hurt. No. But when there's dysfunction, which could be their norm, they stick around. Why? Familiar spirits. This one here says, it's definitely learned behavior. This is what they saw growing up and probably thought it was normal to be with Dusties. And you think about it. Now, the women, they all had the same mom, 3 women, but 3 different dads. And never said that the mom was married. So, yeah, it could be true. The mother picked up 3 dusty men and struggled. And that's what they were attracted to. That was their norm. Now, this one says here, Capricorn Queen 7425, we can only say it was hereditary if they weren't raised by their mother and put in a completely different environment and still chose Pookie on a repeated basis, establishing a pattern of behavior. And she definitely has an interesting point. Capricorn Queen 7425 says, their mother raised them and conditioned them to accept these kinds of men into their lives and normalized it. And it makes me wonder, to my point, choosing men, is it hereditary? I think partially it is. So I'm going to have to agree with her. Now, there are 2 other points I wanted to point out. This one here by D. Ledge. It says, there have been twin studies. They show identical twins who grew totally apart. Didn't know of the other on different sides of the world. It showed that by adulthood, they have identical tastes in music, cars, women, you name it. DNA is destiny. Wow. DNA is destiny. And it makes me wonder, is that why rich people, they want to know, oh, who's this person, when they're meeting someone? It's very common. People do background checks, even do credit checks. But even when their children are engaging in adult relationships, they want to know about that family. They want to know about that family, what they come from, the lineage, what do they do for a living. They have all these questions. And I've even heard people say, hey, they do ask questions about, mental, the mental state, in the family, if there are any other conditions. So this had not crossed my mind, but this one here by D. Ledge, DNA is destiny. I have to agree. The video I did, Dusty Sr., He pretty much is like Dusty Jr. No, Dusty Jr. is like Dusty Sr. Why? DNA is destiny. I totally agree with that. I really do. You know, if you're dealing with the bottom shelf of the barrel, did one little T. If you're dealing with senior TT, you're bound to have little junior TT. The genes. I really do agree with DNA is destiny. Now, you can have some, I'm not going to say it's like 100% of the time, but I think it's a majority of the time. Every now and then you have a person that, may have a child. I've seen and heard people say, oh, the mother wasn't worth anything, neither was the father. And that child saw the dysfunction that they grew up with. And guess what? They grew up and went totally the opposite direction. So that is going to be like the anomaly. But I believe a lot DNA is destiny. And that is why I think we have this perpetual passing down poverty. Passing down poverty. We're opposed a lot of times to businesses, and we're opposed to a lot of times, I hate to say, education. Why you think some of these dusties? Oh, your degree don't mean nothing. So what? Got a degree. You ain't got no husband. Got no husband. What does a husband have to do with a degree? We know one thing: the dusties sure don't have a degree. In most cases, you got some that are still doesn't have degrees, but you think about that. Why would you be opposed to education and put anyone's achievement down? You have the DNA of defeat. You have the DNA of defeatist attitude. As they say, a young fool is a good makings of an old fool. So that I agree. DNA is destiny. I really and truly agree. I hadn't thought about that concept, but if you think about it, like I said, Dusty Sr., Dusty Jr., they grew up in a household fighting and boxing it out. To some, we're like, okay, that's not how you handle conflict, but that's the norm. Look how in the Black community we have all these killings and shootings. All these killings and shootings in the Black community. Well, the mom and dad probably, in a gang, yeah, with some women too, gang banging. That's what you're used to. You can put those same individuals in a different environment with people of different nationality, watch them kind of chill out. Why? They're not used to that. And especially if it's some, upper scale community, they're not used to it. It's beyond their norm. Going to kind of pipe down. But when you're in your comfortable space, you do things like that. Now, this comment here from Miss Tisla-ish, she says it all stems from the mother. Again, we're talking about relationships. Relationships, how we're choosing partners, it's hereditary. She says it all stems from the mother. Condition them to desire the Pookie and Ray Rays. Some mothers don't want better for their daughters because they never had it. Sad. Girl, I already know. I already know that to be true as well. Sad to say, Miss Tisla-ish, some mothers don't want better for their daughters because they never had it. And it's true. I've seen it in my family. I've seen someone, a professional man, he was an attorney, wanting to meet, now he knew the other female, but he wanted to meet the other woman, and she was younger. Okay? So he wanted to meet her. He was like, oh yeah, introduce me. What do you see? The other woman who's always in your house and friendly, what is she doing? Yeah, I'll get around to it. It's like, girl, she's right over there. Introduce him. Finally, the man stopped asking. Hell, he just went and introduced himself. But why did she do that? Because she had already had a man that he quit his job when he married her, and she took care of him. She just had Pookie and Ray Ray in a suit, and she ended up getting divorced. And even in the first time around, that would have been her second marriage. It was the same old thing. She worked, and the men sat around. That's what that was all about. She worked, the men sat around. So you stop and think, why would she not want to introduce a single woman? The guy's asking you to introduce her. You know him. He's your colleague. He's a fellow attorney. Why do you want to introduce her? Because you don't want her to do better than you. I hate to say it, even in my family. I hate to say it, but it's true. And that's why when I saw that statement, some mothers don't want better for their daughters because they never had it. Crabs in the barrel. All nationalities can have women that get jealous of their kids. Oh yeah. I've seen it. Had a relative. Girl was very pretty. And so what? She was wearing extensions. She had a weave. It was professionally done. She already had like thick hair. Okay? Already. Very pretty girl. A man, we had some kind of function, and he introduced himself to talk to her. And let's try it again. Keep in mind, this is family, all right? Family. Introduced himself to her, and I hate to say it, one of my aunts went out of her way to tell the guy, and I couldn't believe it. It was like, you gotta be kidding me. That's not all her hair. It's like, what are you doing? Who does that? That's not all her hair. And I was just shocked. And the man was like, well, she's a very beautiful girl. It looks like it. Her hair looks fine. It's beautiful. But that's not all her hair. One of my aunts did that. Haterade. Again, you don't want somebody to have a man that's successful. Then she went to the same young lady, and this is in the family, her niece, and said to her, he kept bugging her. It was the weirdest thing, and we knew it was from that function. When you gonna take that weave out? And it's like, why are you concerned? When you gonna take that weave out? Because actually, the girl and the man, I believe they started dating. And so she wanted to make a point, asking the woman. She told the man about, that's not all her hair, and that it was a weave. He still dated her. Then she went to her, when are you going to take that weave out? What was the weave going to do? She still had a beautiful face. She still looks better than you. Why? Afraid somebody going to have a decent man because she didn't have one. Oh, I hate to say it. I've seen it, and they're middle class and very messy. Ooh, messy, messy. The stuff I've seen, how they try to sabotage each other. Women sabotage women, and they're unhappy. So this here, Miss Tisla she said it all stems from the mother conditioning them to desire Pookie and Ray Rays. Some mothers don't want better for their daughters because they never had it. Do you agree with the statement? They never had it. So that's there. Here we have I Love Cookies. This will be the last one we're going to go through. This one here at Miss Tisla she says the truth. Her speaking from experience. Luckily, my spirit directed me to love from a distance. Sometimes you have to. I think really sometimes you have to. So I Love Cookies says, my university educated cousin who grew up in the suburbs got pregnant last year by a face tattooed hoodlum with 3 other kids. I couldn't. She was bragging about working up until she gave birth. I can't. My family always comments on me being single as it's a terrible thing. I Love Cookies. No, it might be a jealous thing. A terrible thing. No, misery loves company. Misery loves company. So this here, I want to kind of just go over those comments again. The original video was done on the Simply Said channel, but choosing a man, is it hereditary? Is it hereditary? So interesting comments. So let me know what you think. Thanks for listening. Feel free to comment, like, subscribe, share. I'm out, people. Take care.